What were a couple of jobs that were held almost exclusively for women only in post-World War America?
Nurses and librarians.
Okay. Nurses and, what'd you say?
Librarians.
Librarians or educators. Okay. That's still kind of true today. There's definitely a stereotype when it comes to nursing. Most people think of, oh, women. And then who's the doctor?
Man.
A man. Now that's obviously, I know multiple men who are nurses and multiple women who are doctors or physicians. But in the 1950s, that was the stereotype. Okay. Also, a man being a teacher was definitely unheard of. Okay. Especially in the 1950s and 60s, there were not very many men in education, and if they were, what was their job?
Principal or something.
Principal or
Discipline.
yeah, PE, the coach. That was it. English, math, science, history, foreign languages, you name it. Typically were held by women only. Okay. All right, so I kind of got us started on that. What else would you guys like to mention about women in the workplace, and as far as having the family mother or wife role? What else did you guys read in that section that you found interesting, or like a fact that you learned? Even if a woman was intellectually qualified to have a more professional job or just like a different type of profession, how were they greeted when it came to this? Did they have as many opportunities? No, of course not, right? What started to happen to women working outside the home in the 1960s? Did it increase or decrease? It increased significantly, right? More women than at any other time in the history of the U.S. women were working outside the home. And these were mothers. It just weren't single women, but these were married women with multiple kids trying to help their families. Just make sure you read the rest of that. Everything.
I have a book on my phone actually.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, just read that at home, because you'll
yeah.
find a lot of that to be quite interesting.
I did. I read like a couple paragraphs. Okay.
Do most families today require the mother or wife to work outside the home?
Some do, yeah.
Yeah, a good majority actually do. Like they're counting on that paycheck just like the husband or dad's, just like the man. Okay, so it's not uncommon, of course, today, but now in the 50s and 60s, it was not so much the case. All right, what about women's pay?
It was less.
Definitely less, for sure. What if a woman was not married by the age of 30? It's considered weird or odd, right? Like, why are you not married? Why don't you have a husband? Now today, what do people think? You meet a 35-year-old woman or even a 40-year-old woman who's unmarried.
Oh, you go, girl.
Is it as common?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more common, right, nowadays. Now, in some cultures, of course, people were like, why aren't you married? But during this time period, it was kind of like expected you get married. It's just kind of what you do. Get married, have kids. All right, anything else? Come on, I know y'all got something to add.
From the section about women.
Yeah. I actually have a personal story about women working during this time period. I met a woman when I was about 13 or 14. She went to my church, and she was an elderly woman at the time, like very elderly, like in her early 90s.
Oh, really?
And she, I mowed grass, like I've probably told you guys before, for, you know, money. And I mowed a number of older folks in our church. I was mowing their grass because obviously they couldn't do it. Well, this one kid who was doing it, he was like a senior in high school. He was going away for college. So he was like, hey, Zach, I've got some yards that I want to give to you because I know, obviously, I was in like the 9th grade. He's like, I want to pass these down to you because I'm going away for college and I obviously can't do it. And I was like, yeah, man, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. So I went over with him and he introduced me to the people and he was like, hey, Zach's going to start cutting your grass. So I met this woman, her name was Finetti Reese, okay? And Miss Reese, she actually was unmarried, okay, her entire life. So this was, I mean, she would have been born like, if she were still alive today, I mean, she would be like 110 years old or something. But what was really strange and odd about it was not only was she unmarried, but her sister was also unmarried, which was very rare during that time period. For them to be growing up during this time period, like in the 30s and 40s, to be of married age, and they never got a husband, and neither one of them. So they actually lived together, and they bought a house together, these two sisters. And it was kind of crazy though, because when she passed away, she gave her house to our church, and the church, of course, held on to it, but then they sold it and got money, you know, for the congregation. But what was crazy, this is kind of weird. She actually gave me her bed. It was this really old antique bed, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but in a lot of cultures around the world, you know what a pineapple represents? It means like hospitality and like welcome to my home and my family. So what was kind of strange, like architecturally, a lot of people started to carve pineapples outside of their home, like on the porch, and you actually can see this in architecture. But also that some people started to carve them into the bedposts, like into the bedposts of, you know, and it's like
So you just found a pineapple.
kind of weird. But anyway, I still have that bed. It's actually at my dad's house, but it's super cool. It's got these big pineapples like carved into the post. It's pretty awesome. But anyway. So, any other ideas about women? Women, family, work, anything else? All right, now here's the big one. Sex and the middle class.